Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome to Bearbackers. We're officially in full swing with all our fall sports, so a lot going on. I do want to make sure and mention two huge losses that we've had in the past few months. I forgot this one last week, and I apologize. Miss Jonelle Lowry, a regular at that table there in the middle, passed away back in June at the age of 93. She was the wife of UCA Sports Hall of Famer Dr. Fletcher Lowry, and one of my all-time favorite people here at UCA in my 30-plus years. And then last Tuesday, we lost our old friend Bill Johnson. Everyone in this room, everybody in the city of Conway, for that matter, knew Bill Johnson, UCA Sports Hall of Famer. He was the longtime voice of UCA football. Worked in our athletic department. He was on the board of trustees. You name it, and Bill was involved. His obituary in the paper was about this long. That tells you what all Bill Johnson did. We'll certainly miss these two huge supporters of our athletic department, and we'll miss seeing them here every week here at Bearbackers. Let's take a look at this week's schedule. Thursday, we start with a soccer doubleheader at the Bill Stevens Complex. The men host Oral Roberts at 5:30, followed by the women taking on Little Rock at 8 p.m. in the I-40 Showdown. Volleyball Sugar Bears on Friday will be in Fort Collins, Colorado for a tournament at Colorado State, taking on Grand Canyon at 5 p.m. our time. Saturday, volleyball continues at Colorado State, facing the host team at 7:30 our time. Football Bears will try to get that bad taste out of their mouth. 6 p.m. Saturday against Lindenwood Lions in St. Charles, Missouri. Sunday, women's soccer hosts UT San Antonio at the Bill Stevens Complex. And volleyball finishes up in Colorado against Oregon at noon our time. That's gonna be a fun one. We're gonna start today with men's soccer. They won a big match 2 days ago in Memphis. My days are all messed up because of the holiday. They shut out Memphis Tigers 3-0. Memphis has always had a good team, and for years we struggled to beat them. However, we have now won 3 of the last 5 against Memphis. Pietro Fontana, our junior forward from Italy, scored a goal in both halves. Goalkeeper Javier Ramirez from Spain had 7 saves and recorded his second shutout of the season. We're now 2-1 overall, 3 straight home games coming up before ASUN conference play begins on September 21st. Now let's hear from head coach Frank Kohlenstein.
So, Steve warned me about the microphone.
It's fine, I touched it.
So, I'm not taking any chances. Hopefully everybody can hear me in the back. Usually my players don't have a hard time hearing me, but that doesn't mean they listen to what I say. They usually hear me. But their hearing is kind of selective, just like all of ours can be, because what I got from the intro from Steve was one of my all-time favorite people. And that's where I stopped listening, and then it was my turn to come up, so it's great. So I appreciate that, Steve. So the men's soccer program got off to quite a start, and for sure, Coach Brown and I can empathize, because when we were at Wake Forest, we got ACC'd. They called a penalty that, people all over the country had sent me notes and said, oh, you got ACC'd. Which meant when you're playing an ACC team at their place, you have to win by 2 goals, and we weren't ahead by enough goals to win the game. And I felt like Coach Brown got sunbelted. Is what I call it. So we're not complaining about the referees, though. We're not. So the guys went there, and it was a great experience to go to. If you don't know anything about college soccer, the ACC is the best in the land as far as a conference goes. It's like the SEC for women's softball, or some other sports. But, so it was a great experience for us. We just wish it would have been a more joyful experience for us. But we learned a lot from that match. And then we were really tough on our guys about some of the things that we let slide in that match. And, so we got better the next match playing against Memphis. And so they're hoping we're going to be a lot easier on them this week. I'm hoping that we're going to keep improving. So really excited about our team. If you get a chance to come out and see them play, they work really hard. There's some skillful players from, all over the world. So Dr. Davis, we're definitely increasing the diversity of our campus with our team. It was great. Matt came over and met with them one day, and he was asking them where they were from. And I think he was stunned to hear where everybody was from on the team. So it's really exciting for us. What we really try and do is bring that group together as a family, because when they're here like that, they really need to depend on each other. And that's one of the big things we try and do, is help them feel like, Conway and UCA are their home, and the other guys on the team are their brothers, and the other programs in the athletic program are part of their family too. Because we got to go out to the cross-country meet because we were home. This is the first time we've been home when they've had a home meet, and that was really cool because it was one of those mandatory events that coaches have for their players. It's voluntary, but you better be there. But afterwards, they were all saying how much they enjoyed being there and how much fun they had rooting on those other teams. And those athletes, it was really important for them because to have other athletes appreciate what you do is always very important, just like with other coaches. And I think I sent Coach Brown a note the other day just saying how much I appreciate having a football coach like him working here, because I've worked with some other football coaches, and they're not all on the same high standard that Coach Brown has. So I really appreciate that and appreciate being here for you. Great to see you. I hope you'll come out and see us Thursday and then stay and watch the women's team with our neighbors over there and in the soccer part of the town. And if any of you ever, I was thinking about this today, if any of you ever want to visit over to the soccer house, we'd love to show you around. We make a good cup of coffee, just come by and see us, because it really is a cool thing over there, that we have the soccer house, and it goes along with us trying to be a family. So I hope you'll come out and see us. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Frank, you're going to have to be number 2. I mean, it's Miss Lowry, Frank. That's just, yeah, you got to be number 2. Our women's soccer team dropped a 3-0 match to Missouri State on the road in Springfield over the weekend. Last Thursday night, we had a game postponed mid-game at Arkansas State. Storm blew in. They don't have lights on their field, so it was postponed at halftime. Just drove up there, played a half, drove back. Actually set through delay, then drove back. The Bears have 2 consecutive home matches, as I said, on Thursday versus Little Rock. That's purple out for both games. And on Sunday versus UTSA at 1 p.m. Now let's hear from Coach Jeremy Bishop.
Afternoon, everyone. As Steve was mentioning, we went over to Jonesboro and got half of the game in, so I've got breaking news for all of you. We're going to go back next Thursday and play the second half. The interesting situation, they were worried about the heat, and so they moved the game from 4 to 5. And then we got lightning, so then there wasn't time to get the whole game in. So because we're really nice and we want to play and we want to compete, we're going back over there next Thursday to finish that. So I don't think everybody even knows that yet, but that's happening. Yeah, ASU knows. I was hoping to get a text back from them before I got up here, but it's good. We're going.
You know time?
5:30 looks like. So great time of year. A little bit about the same as what Frank was talking about. We've been here since the end of July, and it's just been us, and now everybody else is playing and everybody else is competing, and we love it. We were sitting in the hotel in Springfield Saturday night. We had did takeout for the team at the hotel, so we had the meeting room, and we've got the football game up on the big screen as we're eating and hanging out. And on the bus on the way home, everybody's got their phones or iPads out watching the soccer game, and we were watching volleyball on Friday night. So it's just fun to be able to have the other athletes here and competing and doing their thing and supporting each other, and just looking forward to playing some home games here coming up this weekend so that we can get a crowd to support our group, and then obviously be able to support our fellow athletes at their events as well. So looking forward to being home. So Missouri State on Sunday, really competitive game. Gave up some goals on set pieces. So as a coach, you obviously you don't want to give up goals. But I think if we're giving them up that way, we can fix those things a lot easier than if we're giving them up through the run of play. And so that'll be our focus this week, to try to clean up that piece of it. But talked about last time that we're really just trying to figure out what's our best system right now, what's our best personnel, and so we're getting closer to figuring that out. If I was a better coach, we might have it figured out by now, but working on it. So we'll have it all figured out, I'm sure, before we hit ASUN play. We've got 2 more weeks before we hit that, and 3.5 matches during that time to get it figured out. So the team's coming along really well. We just wanted to point out a couple of players from Sunday. Nina Mazzola is a junior here who has been really a little bit of everything for us as far as different positions. But she was tremendous at Missouri State on Sunday, just all over the field, helping us in possession, helping us turn them over, creating opportunities for us going the other way. But so she's really playing into her own right now, and so I think that's going to be really big for us as we get into these next few matches and start sorting ourselves out, for the ASUN play. And then we talked a little bit about Kelly last time and how she's getting closer and closer to being that midfielder of the year that she was a year ago, and I think that's right in front of us as well. So a lot of players playing well, a lot of players playing, which is really good. Been able to get a good sample across the board as far as who we are. Got a couple injuries that I think we'll be getting back in the next few days to a week, so that will really help when we get them back. But looking forward to being at home for 2. So Thursday night, come out, watch the men, stay, watch us. And then on Sunday afternoon, UTSA got a really good program out of the American Conference, and so looking forward to having them here so we can play against them here on our home field. It's nice when we're able to get teams like Oklahoma State to come here, and UTSA and programs that have had a lot of success and be able to bring them here. And I think that speaks a lot for our soccer community and our background and what we've been able to accomplish. So looking forward to that, and hopefully we will see you all on Thursday night.
As Frank mentioned, our cross-country teams hosted the annual UCA Berry Invitational at Beaver Fort on Saturday morning. A really nice morning to run, a really nice venue to run at. Our women's squad won the meet with 22 points, beat Little Rock by 11. UCA's Madeline Hill was the overall winner. She ran a 16:58 for the 3-mile course. Allie Nachigal was 3rd. Sequara Prentice was 4th. Kaylee Wagnon was 6th, and Felicia Sahib was 8th. So we pretty dominated that. On the men's side, we ran without one of our top runners. He was nursing a minor injury. We finished 2nd to Little Rock. We had the 4th through 6th runners, true freshman Trey Baker, JUCO transfer Mason Bickle, and Tim Houghton. Head coach Josie Weaver's on his way to the airport to take a recruit back. He swears he's going to be here next week if he's invited. And I said, well, you're always invited, so we're going to have Josie here next week. Put it down in writing. Volleyball Sugar Bears played 3 matches last weekend at Texas A&M Commerce. They beat Tarleton State 3-0 on Friday. Then they lost twice to host Commerce 3-2, and then to Little Rock 3-0 on Saturday. Still not at home yet at the Print Center, as we've talked about. This week they're at Fort Collins, Colorado for that tournament that I mentioned, and then 3 matches in a tournament at UT San Antonio the next weekend against UTSA, Sam Houston, and Alabama. So they're going to be home eventually. September 2021, I believe, is when they're finally at home. And we all know the football game at Arkansas State went Saturday. I'll let Nathan delve into all that, but I will say this. If you have to take 9 minutes to do a review, there obviously was not enough conclusive evidence to overturn it. I mean, if it takes that long, I don't know how you can overturn that. But If that was the catch, I would have been a whole lot better receiver in high school. I'll leave it at that. I would have been a stud receiver in high school if that was the catch. We had some great individual efforts in the game. Shunderick Powell looked like the healthy Shunderick that we saw last year early in the season. He had 176 yards rushing, including an 81-yarder on just 15 carries. That's 11.7 yards per rush. First down by himself. He leads the UAC and all of FCS in rushing yards and yards per carry, not surprisingly. 3 players had double-figure tackles. Linebacker Jace Benesh had 14. Safety Purton, best name of all time, had 13. Linebacker Dalen Land had 10. David Walker was David Walker. He had 2.5 sacks. He had a forced fumble on the strip sack at the end that set up our go-ahead touchdown. We scored 31 points in the second half against an FBS team at their place. We had too many penalties, had 11 penalties. Not a lot of offense in the first half, but still a lot of good came out of that game, despite the 3-point loss. Next up, as we said, the Lindenwood Lions at 6 p.m. at Saturday in St. Charles, Missouri. That's a suburb just west of St. Louis. We've only played them once back in 2022, and I'm sure most of us at that point had never heard of Lindenwood. We're probably all looking them up when it came on the schedule. But they came in here to Estes Stadium and they won an absolutely crazy 52-49 game, if you remember that game.
I remember going home crying.
Erod went home and cried, he just said. Some numbers from that game, just how crazy it was. It took nearly 4 hours. Teams combined for 101 points, combined for 1,231 total yards of offense, 151 combined plays, only 6 punts. Lindenwood led 35-28 at halftime. Teams combined at halftime for 671 yards of offense. And this crazy thing, only 3 points scored in the fourth quarter after all that. Unfortunately, it was the game-winning field goal with 9 minutes left by them. Darius Hale had 170 rushing yards. Will McIlvain threw for 341 yards and 5 touchdowns. Their quarterback had 413 passing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. It's just one of those games when you don't want to be the defensive coordinator, because whatever you do is not going to work. Crazy game. I'm hoping for a nice, calm, 35-10 win this week would be nice. But if it's not, at least I'm not in charge of doing stats, because it's a game. It's nice. One more thing, we did move up to number 9 in both the FCS polls this week, despite the loss. They understood how we lost and who we lost to, so that's good. Now let's turn it over to Coach Nathan Brown.
Erod, in case you were wondering, I went home and cried that night too.
See, we understand each other. That's the key part.
We bleed purple, man.
Yeah, we do.
I want to. Sorry, my voice is still a little shooken from Saturday night. So if you hear me clear my voice, don't blame me. Want to go ahead and speak about the final play and just my perspective and obviously our team's perspective of the outcome and result of that opportunity that was there. First of all, great job by the offense converting. David got a strip sack there late in the fourth quarter on a third down play, and obviously that strip sack is not as important if you don't go put it in the end zone 3 plays later. So very pleased with that. We had all the momentum on our side. We decided the last 2 kickoffs to sky kick. We knew going in, their punt return and kick return are the best 2 we'll see all year. I mean, those 2 guys are really special. So we did not want to give them a chance to get loose as far as field position goes. So we sky kicked it, put them on the -30. They had 55 seconds, somewhere in that range, to go 70 yards. We knew they needed a touchdown. Got them to a 4th and 4, and on their first 3 plays, got stop them, and got them to a 4th and 4 situation, and had a good defense called. And honestly, T.D. Williams was right there on the pass. He had a great to that point. I was a little surprised they went with the fade ball in a 4th and 4 situation, to be honest with you. But they did. They've got full trust in Corey Rucker. He's a special wide receiver. Fortunately for them, he made a good catch. At that point in time, on what I would consider down the field throws. In other words, fade balls, post balls, whatever that looks like. They were 0 for 7. So they went 1 for 8 on the day, and it was on that 4th and 4. So good timing on their part. Thought the quarterback placed the ball exactly where it needed to be, and he made a great catch to secure to get on the plus side of the field. Ran a couple more plays, got it down to 7 seconds left in the game, and they threw a boundary fade to Rucker, and he made a great play. At the end of the day, he kind of contorted his body, which a lot of receivers can't do that, to a back shoulder. I thought L.J. Hewitt, who played a phenomenal game at corner, transfer that I talked a little bit about last week, was in good position, but the ball placement was about perfect, and Rucker made a good attempt at the catch. And at the end of the day, we're at peace with the call. I mean, that's all you can be. And so I want you guys to know from my end that I went into our meeting Sunday night with our football team that represent every one of you guys, and we have as much class as you can possibly have. They're stung, they're hurt. I think they have their own opinions, as many of us do, and that's that. At the end of the day, that's that. A tough call, tough moment. I could sit here and do the coach talk. Well, if we do more in the first half, it doesn't get to that point, blah, 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 blah. But it did get to that point. And it's unfortunate that it comes down to a replay, and you hope, as Steve mentioned, it was obviously an extended replay. The call on the field was an undeniable incompletion by the field judge. I mean, he had no hesitation. He saw what appeared to be the ball rolling next to the receiver, and made the call. And, I was sitting there on our sideline actually relatively confident. One, I had seen the ball jolt, what I thought was the ball jolt loose. And two, L.J. Hewitt had came to me and he said he dropped it, And so I'm like, okay, well, I've been lied to by players before, right? But I was confident in what I saw. I was confident in the officials. And it really, as the replay continued to go, I'm sitting there with more and more confidence because I'm sitting there thinking there's not indisputable evidence, right? And that's the point of the instant replay. And obviously, the opinion of the replay official was different, and that's okay. It's okay. And the Bears are going to be fine. And we've turned the page. Just so you guys know, just so I can clear up, stuff online and this, that, and the other. We went through the proper channels of reporting the play. Matter of fact, I didn't even have to do it. The United Athletic Conference had already sent the play to our director of officials, Matt Young, on Saturday night. I didn't get to it till Sunday morning to have the ability to get in touch with Matt Young, and he said, I'm way ahead of you. He gave me his opinion, but he said that's just my opinion, and he then went through the proper channels of getting it to their conference officials, and look, from what I understand and talking to different people, there's not a order of operation as far as making a statement. They can choose to, they don't. They can admit wrong, whatever it is. You may have an opinion that would be morally correct to, or not, or whatever, or it's in the past, it's history, which I'm to that point. Look, it is what it is. But our director of officials has been communicating back and forth with me, and I feel very confident that he has relayed the message to me that I want to hear, and I'll leave it at that. We've moved on. We moved on to Lindenwood. We came out Sunday evening and practiced, had a good team meeting. I thought our players came out of the game sour, sad, frustrated, but confident. And for us to come out after halftime and play the way we played against a team that is obviously a level up from us, a few more scholarships in their home stadium, it was impressive. We won the second half 31-17, and one of those touchdowns was the last one. So it was an impressive second half by the UCA Bears, and I'll tell you, impressive first half. Our defense kept us in that game, And we made some adjustments on offense at halftime, and you could see that we had them on their heels in the second half. And that's just a great job by our offensive coaching staff coming in there, making adjustments, seeing where we need to fix some things and do it. And I'll tell you this, and we didn't talk about this last week. I probably should have mentioned this. You know, in college football now, you are allowed to have some more technology on the sidelines. So at the FBS level, which this is a competitive advantage, but that's kind of the sacrifice you make when you play money games, they had in-helmet communication. So up until 15 seconds, a coach can be talking to the quarterback or the linebacker, whoever they deem the communication guy, up until 15 seconds on the play clock. I don't know what kind of advantage it gives them or what, but I know we didn't have that, right? So that's an addition to this season as far as college football goes at the FBS level. FCS and above can have tablets on the sideline now. So we have in-game film at our fingertips. So basically a play, our film crew is filming a play, end zone and wide shot from the sideline up in the press box, and in a matter of about 6 seconds, it's uploaded on your iPad. And so at halftime, I mean, this is the first time I got coaches like Coach Stacks who's sitting there like, what do I do with this? You know, like, get that out of my face, you know, like, you know, and then you got these new age guys, some of my young coaches, they're just buzzing through it, all this stuff. So, but it really helped at halftime. You know, you're able to sit there and you see what they do on defense. You know, you see where you think you can attack them. You know, we didn't, our zone game wasn't working in the first half offensively. They were twisting, stunting, they were adding safeties. So we went to more of a gap run scheme in the second half. And we outrushed them. You know, we averaged a lot of yards per carry, scored 3 rushing touchdowns. In the second half, we started motioning. I don't know if you guys remember if you watched the game, we started motioning our receivers in and going and cracking the safeties. That's what sprung the 81-yard by Shundarick Powell. The first person I was going to celebrate with was Trajan Bridges, our wide receiver, because he motioned in, got inside the corner and went and cracked the safety, who was the run defender. And Shundarick's fast enough; he just whizzed right by everybody else, and it was an amazing play. And so some of those adjustments we were able to make was good to see. But I think we saw the team that we can be and want to be in those final 2 quarters, and that's exciting. So we're forward thinking. You know, unfortunately, we are an 0-1 football team, and I was very blunt and honest with our team. We have not gotten paid yet as a program this year in 2024. So our sole focus and goal is Lindenwood University, and going up to Lindenwood University. Yeah, a lot of guys on that team that probably were stung in 22 who still have that thought in their mind, but I'm not even worried about that. I'm worried about the team that's right in front of us and our team and continuing to get better. If we learn and grow, as you know, you coaches know, if you can learn and grow from a tough loss like that, it might be the best thing that ever happened to you. And that's the way I'm spinning it, you know, and the sting of defeat like that, especially when you've got victory in your fingertips, it can really fuel you if you channel it the right way. And we had some guys step up that are going to be all-conference type players, maybe even all-American type players. I mean, when you look at the night Jay Spanesh had filling in for Jake Golday, you know, who transferred to the University of Cincinnati in the offseason, 14 tackles. I mean, he was all over the field. 44 looked like a flash out there, and that's so good to see. Dalen Land, transferred from Moore College, came back. His dad played here, getting inducted in the UCA Hall of Fame this year. Just a UCA lineage there that's awesome, and then to see him have success at linebacker, filling in. Dude Person, 13 tackles. He's the I've used this word before. Twitchiest means quick. One of the twitchiest secondary guys I've ever coached. He can cover you in man covers, but he also can run the alleys, and that's why he had 13 tackles the other night. Got guys on the ground. David Walker, he's David Walker. I'm not going to sit up here and waste breath on him. You guys know how special he is. He's the undisputed, to me, best college football player at the FCS level, and it's not close. A guy named Jacoby McQuiller, number 4. He had, I think, 6 or 7 tackles in the second half. He was forced into action. I knew he was going to be a great player. Matter of fact, if you read some of our stories, I've talked about Jacoby since spring ball. We signed him in December from a junior college in Mississippi. Tamarian Wilson, who might have an argument as one of the better players in the country at our level, didn't play the whole second half. He was down with cramps. And so he just couldn't shake them. And so Jacoby McQuiller was forced into action. So we played that whole second half without Tamarian Wilson out there. And a guy like Jacoby McQuiller stepped up. I thought L.J. Hewitt, Mark Dorsey at corner, James Jordan, T.D. Williams. I mean, those guys, that's a really good receiving core we play. Jalen Raynor's a great quarterback. If you take Jalen Raynor's scramble yards, which that's part of the game, I get. Coach Will, that's rushing yards. I get all that. But if you take those out, we held them to 2.8 yards a carry. 2.8 yards a carry. And even with Jalen Raynor's, rushing yards, it was only about 3.9 yards a carry. So, I mean, we're in a good spot. And that's the most, I said it last week, the longest and most talented and skilled team we'll play on our schedule. Now, does that mean that, we're going to go run the table, all that? Well, I sure hope so, but I'm worried about Lindenwood, right? I'm worried about the team that's right in front of us. So, and then on offense, just let me hit those guys real fast. I thought Will started slow. He'd be the first to tell you. Matter of fact, he sent a group text to our captain, group text, just said, I got to play better. And he didn't play bad. I mean, he was efficient, didn't turn the ball over. We won the turnover battle 2-0. He threw a big touchdown pass in the fourth quarter on a good read. He was a little high on some throws, kind of probably a little bit of adrenaline early in the game, overthrew some throws. But man, settled in there and played really solid winning football. That's why we made that comeback. And I'll tell you what I'm most impressed about Will is, if you'd have been in the locker room at halftime, you would have said that is what a 5th, 6th year quarterback's supposed to look like. He had poise, no panic, got his offense together, making adjustments on the iPad, and just being a coach at the end of the day. And that's what you want to see. Obviously, Shunderick Powell had an All-American type night. He's hard to tackle. He's fast. He only touched the ball 18 times. I told him last night, probably needs to be 20 times. And so we've got to continue to get him the ball because good things happen. I thought Darius Hell touched the ball not enough times as well. He touched it 13 times. He's got to touch it 20-plus times. Those two have got to touch the ball as many times as we can get them. Darius had some huge runs, and obviously that big 6-yard run there at the end to get us ahead with 50 seconds left. So I thought our offensive line held up, especially after the initial surge of the game. Justin Larry, our left tackle, graded out as the 8th best tackle in the country, FBS, FCS, all games played in college football by PFF. It's pretty impressive. I mean, that's unreal. So PFF, you just go Google it. It's a pretty cool deal. We pay a lot of money for it. Thanks, Matt. But it's a good deal, and it is a analytics amazing thing. But yeah, I mean, Justin Larry, he's an All-American type left tackle. I thought Wiggins, Jamal Mull, Zach Kokenauer, and Chalon Piney on the right tackle side. They rotated every series as young players really stood up. And then Dylan Spencer in the middle. He's going to be a force, and he's going to continue to get better. So proud of that. Penalties are an issue, 11 penalties. And really not undisciplined penalties, just jittery penalties. And so if you look at the penalty yardage, we actually had less penalty yards than they did. So their penalties were more significant than ours. I think they had 7 or 8 penalties. So they had less penalties than us, but more penalty yards. Ours were 5-yarders. And that's knick-knack stuff, but that's stuff that you can't do to beat a team like Arkansas State. You can't get away with that. So that was an emphasis on Sunday night. It'll obviously be an emphasis today at practice throughout the week. We have to improve there. Special teams-wise, very pleased. Jake Gaster, 4 for 4 on his kicks, 1 for 1 on field goals. Operation time was great. Thought we punted the ball well, averaged 45.6 yards a punt by Trace Beard. Coverage a time or two, which can hurt you with a good returner. Return was good. I thought we could have placed the ball a little better just to not give him so many opportunities. And I thought our coverage units, those guys scored, I think between the two of them, scored 4 or 5 special teams touchdowns last year. They're really good. So I was pleased with that. We didn't lose the game in special teams. We helped ourselves out in some spots. So, but turn the page to Lindenwood, very well-coached team. This will be just a sound, fundamental football team. Didn't have a lot of success last year. They're obviously in the Division I transition stage. 2 years ago, I think they won 6 or 7 games. The prior 3 years of that, I think there were 3 straight Division II playoff appearances before they made the transition. Their facilities are unreal. Like, look them up. I mean, they've put a lot of money into this place, and it's going to be a beautiful setting to play a football game. They've done a good job recruiting the Midwest. They dabble down into the South a little bit to get some kids as well. But you start getting up to that St. Charles, St. Louis area, you start getting to see a little bigger kids, a little more physical type, Midwestern type bodies. So they'll be big and they'll be strong, and we'll have to play well and fundamentally sound to win this game. And our players know that. And we're going to respect our opponent, and we're going to go up there And again, I've talked to y'all about this. I think last week the challenge all year during camp was act like a top 10 team. Well, let's continue to act like a top 10 team. And I went down the list, and so 7 of the top 10 teams in the FCS football are 0-1 right now. North Dakota State's 0-1, South Dakota State's 0-1. I keep going down the list. You know, it's Villanova's 0-1. I mean, Sacramento State's 0-1. I mean, there's 7 of the 10 teams. So there's a lot of teams that are sitting there 0-1 that a lot of people have high expectations for. Who are the ones that are going to respond, right? And so that's the challenge. But very excited about the opportunity. First trip to Lindenwood for me. It'll be a new part of the country to play a football game, so it'll be fun. I think the weather's supposed to be unreal. It was very hot Saturday night. I thought our conditioning was very good. We had a couple cramps that popped up on us. Jordan Owens had a cramp starting tight end. Obviously, Tamara and Wilson missed part of the second half. But they probably had 4 or 5 too, that had to get carted off the field or walk off the field, missed time. It was very thick on Saturday night. It's supposed to be kind of fall-like weather up where we're at this weekend from what I see. So I'm excited about the opportunity and the challenge ahead. And we've 100% as a UCA Bear football program turned the page. Matter of fact, it's Tuesday. We turned the page on Sunday night. I'm kind of tired of talking about the mess, but it is what it is. We're going to be better for it. I promise. Is there any questions?
Are you giving the reasoning on Trajan's punt return?
Yeah, so I'm actually as frustrated about that non-call as maybe any of them because my argument was this. He's a defenseless receiver. I mean, he's a defenseless receiver essentially as a punter. And their reasoning was, well, he was not tracking the football. I said, well, that's your judgment. What if he's just bad at tracking footballs? And that's what I said to him. I said, it's your job to protect him, and he takes a hit as a punt returner looking up, right? Now, was he trying to win an Oscar? Yeah, that's what he was doing. He's trying to take him away from the ball. But he got hit when he's not, his eyes were up, right? That was the reason. They just didn't think he was tracking the football. That was the reason. So I was frustrated with that call, very frustrated with that call early on. I thought that should have been called.
Who was the deep snap?
Kyle Gassaway made a big
I
tackle.
thought he was impressive.
Big tackle. Matter of fact, that on one of the punts, we outkicked our coverage. It's about a 63-yard punt. Trace hit. First guy kind of whiffed. Second guy kind of whiffed. And then Kyle Gassaway was there to get him down. And if Kyle doesn't get him down, that guy might go score. But hold on, he's in year 2 as our starting snapper. Matter of fact, put him on scholarship in the offseason. He earned it. Great kid. Phenomenal teammate. But very consistent. And he's a little different because he's a left-handed deep snapper, so the ball spins the other way. So it actually takes a little bit of. It sounds weird, I know. But it is different. It's like catching a ball from a left-handed quarterback. It's a little different, but he's done a great job. Kyle's a great player for us.
They even asked the people that do the stats in the press box, was that your deep snapper? That was. He was fired up about that, and I was fired up for him because he works hard at that. He does, and that was fun to watch.
NFL guys, our NFL guys.
Yep. So we've got two currently, George Odom at San Francisco. Trey Smith is with the Denver Broncos. Robert Rochelle is about to get re-signed by the Packers. Cut him. A lot of times what they'll do this time of year to get to the roster limits, they'll cut and then add. Robert's in that case. I talked to him the other day. He feels like his agents are telling them he's going to be back on the roster, hopefully by the end of the week before the game 1. Andrew Hayes made it to the last cut with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's training. He's got from what I understand, a couple of tryout opportunities coming up. He's a kid that's going to stick somewhere. I don't know where it'll be, but he'll be somewhere. I feel like he's that good. But proud of those guys. Senior Bowl Scout was in attendance Saturday night. To watch David and Tamarian, they're on the watch list. Obviously, neither one of them did anything to hurt their cause. All right, let's go beat Lindenwood.
Can I touch this, Steve?
Yep, you're good.
All right.
Sensitive, I thought it was sensitive.
How's everybody doing? Good. Having a good week so far?
Busy.
Well, good. Well, like Steve and the coaches mentioned, got a chance to come check out some home matches this week with men's and women's soccer Thursday and Sunday, football on the road Saturday. But we're looking forward to a big week. I wanted to introduce
a couple new members of our staff. Morgan Camp, formerly Morgan Nelson. Morgan's our new Director of Development in Athletics, and so she is replacing Rachel Haberman that used to be in that role. Rachel moved and took a job at Conway Regional. We're proud, Morgan, that you're here. And today is her first day, so she's jumping right in. Nate, is Nikki in here?
He's not, but he's outside, but we have our intern Will.
Intern Will with Peak Sports. Well, Will, it's great to have you here. We also will introduce Nikki when he comes back or when he's here next week. Nikki Spades is our new Director of Sales with our UCA Sports Properties team, and he's the early leader in the clubhouse with the best name in Bear Hall. So Nikki Spades, we're excited to have Nikki on board too. All right, anything that I can answer? Any questions that I can answer? Okay, that makes it easy. Well, let's have a great week. Go Bears, go Sugar Bears, Bear Claws up.